Everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. We spend a little time as we preview the parish council meetings that happen on Wednesday. John Amedee is here to talk about the council meeting. So always a lot going on, but this time of year, anything change? Is it busier or less busy with election season and everything else?
With election season, that throws in a different curve to all that we're doing, so it gets really busy. But this is the time of the year where we go over the budget for next year, the proposed budget. We hear what all the departments are talking about doing, and we'll get into that a little bit on. But what I want to do, because I think this is really important, is to invite the public tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the courthouse on the steps. We're going to be doing a dedication for the courthouse square to Bubby Lyons. Now, a lot of people may say, wait, that sounds familiar. Who was that guy? Well, he was a gentleman that was very active in the community. He was a police juror. He became mayor of Houma in 1978. He served till 1984 when we switched from a police jury to a consolidated government. He was instrumental in changing the form of government, which helped us through the lean years of the oil downturn of the 80s.
That's right when it happened.
Yeah, it really...
Leslie Lyons was his daughter, graduated me at high school that time. So, yeah, I'm familiar with Mr. Bubby. Was that a big ask? Was that a big carry to get the government to consolidate itself? Because, everybody that's in any kind of government likes their own little fiefdom, right? So how was it to bring everybody together and to consolidate like that?
Well, looking back on it, I think it was probably a big task. I mean, I was young at the time. I had just graduated high school. Beryl and I had gotten married. We bought a business in the mid-'80s. So while all that was taken on, we were going through our own things. But based on what I know, having been a part of politics now for some years, I bet it was. Because just like you said, in the police jury system, you kind of had control of your area. You had a budget for your area. Now with consolidation, it's 9 people. And at the time, it was 15 they had brought it down to. We brought it down to 9 in the 90s. And... but they're all fighting for that same dollar. So you're giving up some control to switch the form of government, but I think it operates better.
Oh, it has to. It has to save so much money than having a Chauvin police department and a Dulac, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at some of the parishes around the state that still have some of those towns incorporated in their parishes, so they're somewhat consolidated but not fully consolidated. And I see the struggles that they deal with. Oh, yeah. And I just kind of like the way we do it here in Terrebonne.
Oh, no. It was a great sacrifice, and really maybe that was, we need to do that in politics a little more on a higher level. When you talk about New Orleans, you talk about the state, you talk about federal. Right. If we could compromise a little bit instead of making the other guys
I think it's great to be able to honor Mr. Lyons because, he did that here. But then time passes on, and in 2009, he becomes interim mayor of Mandeville. And he was 80 years old at the time, so that guy never quit.
Right.
And that's just I had the privilege of meeting him and speaking to him on several occasions, and that was the kind of guy the impression that I got from him.
A true public servant. So what does this mean? You going to...
So there's a plaque put out there, and it's going to be called the Bubby Lyons Courthouse Square now, just like we did with the building, the towers is the Robert Bergeron Government Towers, and then the Civic Center, Barry Baumland Civic Center, because they were all instrumental in something. Well, you look at the courthouse as kind of the seat of government, so with this guy being the father of the consolidation, maybe we can say, it's going to honor him so that everybody, because we do a lot of events there, and everybody's going to be able to see that and know the history of how it came about.
And hopefully more people get down there as, we start rebuilding downtown Houma. The Rotary Centennial Plaza is awesome.
Yes.
All the bandstands and all, it's great.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's good. So you're also that night, you're doing something with a Good Samaritan, right?
We are, absolutely. You hear a lot of times where Secret Service or something says they're willing to take a bullet for the president, or somebody will tell you I'm willing to take it. Well, this guy, Mr. Jimmy Benoit, proved that he's willing to take a bullet for somebody to help somebody else out. Think about this guy driving through the parking lot of a store, sees some elderly couple being robbed. He jumps out of his truck, goes over there, struggles with the guy, takes a bullet in his bladder, but from what I hear, he was upset that he wasn't going to be able to work the Dularge Fair. So that's the kind of guy that the Benoits are, if you know the brothers. I mean, they're real into their community and serving their community. So it didn't surprise me when I heard that it was one of those brothers that was willing to do that. So we want to honor him, doing a proclamation recognizing the heroic action. When you speak of heroes, that's a hero.
Oh, yeah. It'd be so easy just to take out your phone, right? You see so many times people take out a phone and they just keep driving, right? And
well, a lot of times, and with the age of the social media, they want to video it, and that's okay.
Right?
That's okay if you turn that video over to the police.
Right.
You know, I mean, the first thing I tend to do is call 911.
Right.
And then, you know, see what I can do to help somebody in a car accident or something. I haven't walked up on a robbery. But I would hope that most of us would be willing to do what he did.
So fortunate that we don't have to deal with that on a regular basis, right?
Absolutely.
At a parking lot at a big supermarket chain here. And this guy comes across, and thank goodness the right guy came across to help those people.
Absolutely, because it could have been worse.
No,
for sure.
Look, we've all seen the videotapes, right, of, you know, on cameras. Linda Fricky comes to mind when she was being robbed in New Orleans and, you know, dragged her to death. So, no, to have people like that, and we do need to do that. I don't mean to sound like the small town song or something,
no.
but it is good that people will stand up for each other around here. So that's awesome. So.
It makes Houma great.
So, so Jimmy Benoit will be honored as well as Mr. Bubby Lyons, and that'll all be coming up on tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay, we got John Amedee here for another segment. We'll take a break. We'll be right back, right here on Bayou Time.
All right, so
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Parabon General Health Systems, modern technology, and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights. South Louisiana Bank, it's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Alford and Associates, for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here, spending a little time with John Amedee as we preview the Terrebonne Parish Council meeting. Budget, it's always fun, I guess. But as we're talking, you know, the budget didn't seem to grow all that much when we talk about the federal government. So you just share with me $247.7 million over 2023. Is that where it should be? Is that good or bad, or how are we doing on it?
no, that's where it is. I mean, you know, it depends on many things. One, tax collections. As you know, with Ida, we were having a lot of tax collections. We were having a lot of people spending, rebuilding, and such. So monies were up. We're going in our proposed budget that the parish president presented to us. We're looking at $251 million for 2024. It's not a real significant jump, but that's because things are starting to slow down now. People are completed their renovations. There's still some that are out there that need to be done, and you know,
and a lot of that COVID money starting to dry up now too.
Right.
So
we had that American Rescue Plan money, which we still have some, and we're still finding ways to put it out into the community. But
From a government standpoint, I was talking about from an individual standpoint to spend money in sales tax.
Right. So you know, Harry, that's the way that we get our federal tax dollars back into our community, is to go after those monies, and we do that. So a lot of the monies in there has to do with that, as well as our local tax collections. And what we're doing right now is we're reviewing all the departments and looking at where they are, what they're proposing for next year, if there's any significant changes, what those changes are. And then, of course, as council members, because remember, the parish president presents this to us, then we look at it and we may want to try to get some additional dollars for, maybe a recreation park to get some equipment, or maybe to do a project within our district, maybe a drainage or street project. So we're going to try and work with administration to see if we can get some of those things added to it. But I expect that it'll probably come around what we have right now, what's proposed. It shouldn't change much by the time we adopt it in December.
Right. So most people will work together. This is not going to be a full contact event, right? Most people know what their area is going to require.
The council and the administration, people have a lot of views on how things go, but overall, I think that we've done pretty well. Parish President Dove gained a lot of experience at the state level. He made a lot of relationships, and that's really what helps you get things. If you want to question our parish president candidates, that's one of the questions to ask. What kind of relationships they have in Baton Rouge and D.C., because it's through those relationships we're able to get those dollars in, and then we can put that into the budget to do the projects that are necessary for our community, whether they be quality of life, drainage, roads, all the different things that we do.
Yeah, and look, as life will do, right? As we've seen the last 4 years. Archie Chesson was in office like 3 months before COVID lockdown started. I mean, obviously it was the second term for Gordy, but so you go right from that lockdowns for 2 years. He's been in office 3 months, and then you go right into a storm. So what I'm saying is, there's always something down the road, and a parish president or anybody's got to be ready to march.
And we have to be able to work together to get the things done. So when we look, I was mentioning earlier, we're 9 members, and we serve our districts, and of course we're going to stand up for things for our district, but we also have to look at the parish as a whole and what's best for the parish. So my district's north, but we're still going to be for levies because we don't want Schriever to be waterfront property.
Right. Without a doubt. So a big part of budgeting and preparing like that is grants, where you can find money from grants and all too that aren't necessarily those budgets.
Yeah, we have 2 grants that are coming up. We have a CDBG grant. It's $3.1 million, and it's for projects designed to provide resiliency against future flooding and other disasters. So we have a team that looks for these things. They go out and they search, and if we can find money, then we want to be able to pull it in and use it for that. We also have Head Start. You hear about Head Start all the time with our children and really getting them to where they need to be to enter into the school system. And we have a 5-year grant application. I was looking at it. It's a 57-page application where they have to share long-range goals, our objectives, and what we expect to have for outcomes in it. So you have to be able, they don't just hand that money out.
Got to be measurable, right?
Right,
Yeah.
It has to be measurable. So those are 2 that we're dealing with, but if you follow our agendas, you'll see those a lot of times, CBDG or community development block grants that the federal government puts out. And again, that's ways we can get our federal dollars back into our community. We're going to go fight for them because, we love other communities, but why let them have all the dollars, And what we do, Harry, is we put a match. Sometimes it might be, for simple sake, an 80-20 match. So we put up 20%, the government puts up 80%. That's a good deal.
That's a good discount.
And that's how we're able to get so much accomplished.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the Bayou Walk downtown. You're talking about the Centennial Plaza. And those kind of things are all assets to the community, but all were grants that help build those things.
Right. And you're talking about what we're doing downtown brings in tourists.
Right.
And they come spend dollars over here.
Tax money.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
Talking about police jurors, but down the road, my uncle Vernon Bourgeois was a police juror back in the day, and it was about shells, right? If one guy had to have shells in his yard, he's like had to have shells, So it's come a long way, but that was part of everybody. It all goes back to I need shells in my driveway, right?
It always does.
For sure, John. So that'll be Wednesday. Y'all be addressing most of those. So
yes, sir.
Thanks. Continue the good government up there at the Terrebonne Towers. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Harry.
All right. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time.